I mean, is a taco a sandwich? Tacos are sandwiches, right?
I don't think so.
No?
No.
Isn't it like an open face, semi-open sandwich?
I mean, a torta is a sandwich.
Yeah.
Like, because then that's like the only reason a hot dog is technically a sandwich because it's two pieces of bread and a bun.
Is a stromboli a taco? I mean, that's just like a pizza that's folded in half.
It would. That would be closer to a quesadilla, I think. Right.
Okay, so is a pizza a quesadilla? A
A
stromboli.
pizza is an unfolded quesadilla.
And so a stromboli is a quesadilla.
And a lamajin is basically a Turkish pizza. And then, yeah, a pizza is basically an unfolded quesadilla.
And a paella is a pizza that doesn't have bread.
Oh, man. So, a calzone is just an Italian quesadilla. Basically.
That's awesome. if this erupts in some kind of food war, you've been asking for this.
Oh man, I don't know where the pita comes in.
Oh man,
Turkish.
Like gyro is a taco, or is a taco a gyro?
Oh man.
Oh no. I mean, if you throw shawarma in the mix, then it just becomes all no. There are no rules.
Yeah, because I've seen shawarma with pita and bread.
Yeah.
Or fucking like bun bread.
Yeah. Flatbread and roll.
Yeah.
But sandwich is such a. I mean, we named it after, we called the sandwich the Earl of Sandwich, but surely something predates, you know.
Pretty sure the Chinese invented the sandwich, I thought.
A wad of meat between some buns.
Yeah, I thought the Chinese invented it. Or maybe I'm thinking of the pizza.
Well,
I'm sure they invented everything. Fuck it.
I mean, the origins of the pizza, the what we call the pizza today, we give to the Italians for when Margherita, like the Queen of Spain, showed up to visit, and they made her a margarita. They named it after her. But there are also all sorts of like cooked or like
flatbreads go back to the Egyptians.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, like they were definitely doing flatbreads. Like,
and tomatoes come from South America.
Yeah.
Although the Chinese had their own version of ketchup, like way before Heinz ever existed. So how they got tomatoes? Chinese had their own trade routes to South America.
Yeah. Wouldn't doubt it.
Tomatoes come from South America, and weed comes from India, and
huh. Can they not grow? I wonder if they can grow tomatoes in China today.
I'm sure they do.
Like,
I bet they grow everything
in the wild.
there. I'm pretty sure the only reason they buy like all of our soybeans is because we're willing to use our land to grow soybeans for them. I think if China if they needed to, they could use their land. They have the manpower. They definitely have the manpower. They definitely have the organizational infrastructure to remobilize. Have you seen that movie, The Wandering Earth? It's about a version of humanity that's presented with a dying sun that's going to expand and within the next 100 years render the Earth uninhabitable. And so they decide to initiate the Wandering Earth project and leave the solar system. So they build a bunch of engines to push the Earth out of orbit. They're going to slingshot around Jupiter and leave and head towards Proxima Centauri. And a few things go wrong. There's a major, end of humanity level emergency on the way out, and they make it, and they're on their way to Proxima Centauri, and this movie is this huge pitch for socialism. It's like the only way we can succeed is if we work together, kind of thing, and it's they kind of paint the computer as I don't really feel like I saw America represented in any of the characters, except for the malicious AI, the homicidal AI aboard the space station that was willing to kill the Russian cosmonaut and tried to kill the Chinese cosmonaut who were trying to stop it from sacrificing the Earth. Like,
that's funny.
So it's this.
Was it Canadian science fiction?
No, it's like the biggest Chinese science fiction movie of all time. It had like the biggest box office opening weekend in history. It's like, actually it looks incredible. It has sci-fi CGI rendering on par with anything that Disney has made.
How old is this?
It just got released.
Oh yeah.
Netflix is it bought the distribution rights.
Gotcha.
So it'll appear with translations into dubbed translations, or dubbed versions will appear, so you won't have to read whatever the Hong Kong Cinema Bureau or Chinese Cinema Bureau. I think it's actually a Chinese mainland movie, but whatever they decide to make the subtitles read as, because there's this element to it where I feel like there's they're really pushing this whole, like, we move together type of thing within the story. They're really pushing like a unified human front for the best of, we're looking out for the best interests of humanity type of outlook. And it's kind of interesting because we need that kind of crap more than ever right now, it seems. And so it's like that meme that I shared, where it's like China is now like doubled their solar panel manufacturing output, and now they're like leaders in solar panel manufacturing and installation. And it's like one of my buddies points out, he's like hey, don't congratulate them too much. And as you pointed out, it's like it's not even about that. It's that we're engaged in imperialist activities on our own people. Oh, and by the way, China is also doing this really good thing that's going to help everyone. Bizarro World. Keeps coming back. Like that, there are all these things where I feel like, no, America is supposed to be doing this. We're the ones that developed the fucking space programs that have bled down to this point where China can attempt to grow cotton on the moon.
But in the process, we compromised
someone compromised the infrastructure.
This country was always white supremacist, and we are just now acknowledging it and waking up to it. Because why is it that Nazism is protected here, but it's illegal in Germany?
Yeah.
And it's like, it's no accident when we took on Wernher von Braun for our space program, we took on the fucking Nazis. They subverted our government, and it's been like, the KKK started here. It didn't start in fucking Germany.
Yeah.
So the shit that we pushed from the KKK, we pushed in a lot of ways to them, and then we brought it right back. And it's just a matter of now people have to realize that if we want to make it so people can understand, in the same way that Hydra fucking subverted S.H.I.E.L.D. in the movies, that shit has happened in our fucking real life, where the Nazis have subverted the United States government, and people will get in thinking they're supporting patriotism and the United States, and it's really just the Nazi agenda. And there's a ton of people that know that, and they don't care that it's the Nazi agenda because they're fucking white supremacists. And that's where we're at in this country. And people want to play like it's like a game, but it's really like we're fighting Nazis at this point. You have
not just fighting Nazis, but fighting Nazis on domestic soil.
That are hidden. They're hidden Nazis. And that's the worst part about it, is they've been able to put themselves in positions of power and authority, and you don't know who they are because now they don't have they're not wearing their fucking swastikas, and that's like the worst part about it. This has like been the best part about all these racist people actually coming back, is because we, as a black person, we have been telling these people, like everybody else, like these racist ass people have been here for fucking 60 years and longer, and nobody wanted to hear it because like, there's no Nazis here. That's in your mind. There's no Klans people here. That's stuff of the past. Racism's dead. Obama. And then it's like,
I don't see color.
Yeah, exactly. And that was a convenient period where people could use, and that was the worst part about Obama's presidency, is you have a president who perpetuates the growth of this underground white supremacy group and then doesn't do anything to dismantle it in the law enforcement agencies.
Oh, I was reading about so Obama's administration created some $10 million worth of funding to be used for the research into hate groups and prevention of the formation of hate groups. The current administration has rescinded this money. They've taken it away. But I feel like $10 million, that's $200,000 per state, right?
Yeah.
$200,000 per state is only like 2 people after you establish all your administrative fees and facilities and the operational requirements for a facility to maintain the office and their office infrastructure and all of that stuff, electricity, internet, government vehicles.
So on paper it sounds good at first,
but $200,000 doesn't distribute to very much once you start to form an entity. So it's really, we're talking about $200,000. That's like one room, two rooms, one office and one storage area in a big ass government building with all these other agencies. And so basically one floor could handle the entirety of the country.
And then underpaid.
And they're all underpaid because most of the money that's reserved per state is actually being allocated for facilities.
There you go.
So maybe you got 2 people monitoring an entire state, and they can't do anything close to what like a Southern Poverty Law Center can accomplish. They're like crippled compared to the Southern Poverty Law Center.
No, so it's all,
So maybe taking away $10 million to close down that operation isn't really bad. Maybe
no, I mean it's not bad in the sense that the problem is that
that's the
people who were gonna do the fucking searches are racist too.
Yeah.
And that's the problem, is you can't dismantle institutional racism until you dismantle the racists in the law enforcement agencies.
Yeah.
And that's the big problem. And that's like when we had a black president who completely acted like there was no problem, that was the chance. And now it's as worse as it could possibly get without being them openly Nazis. But they might as well be openly Nazis at this point. And that's where people have lost sight of what the Nazis were actually doing
we're at the end stage of the white supremacy pyramid.
Yeah.
We're at the violence phase where it's like normalized and people aren't even, they're not even paralyzed, they're just not even doing anything because they're so just exhausted, it seems.
Yep, we've seen this before.
And so it's about to begin, right, with the next phase, right? That's what's going to happen.
I mean,
if we follow the roadmap laid out by history.
That's the well, again, I guess I just don't know if America deserves not to go down that path because they don't seem to care enough to do anything about it.
Germany became a pretty incredibly successful place after World War II, and after the dust, after the dust settled of the Cold War, which also never ended.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and they took down that wall. Germany became a very, very organized and profitable place. They've got a very strong economy. They have the strongest economy in Europe, right? Something like that, or they did for a while.
Yeah, until Europe started falling apart.
Yeah, but how many times did they have to bail out? Siemens can only build so many submarines on the budget of the Greeks before like they've got too many submarines to even like store and have out. And yeah, I think when everyone's driving like a Volkswagen or a BMW or a Mercedes or an Audi or a Porsche and any of the other like German brands that are probably very accessible. I bet those brands are almost affordable to own in Germany because of the availability of parts.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you have cars like that, I think that it's a very different world.
I mean, a lot of the taxis are like Mercedes.
Yeah. And I know gas costs more, and people drive differently, but man, they've just got. It seems like that's a society that's got a lot of things resolved pretty well. Like they've got like.
It's also like 40 million people. I don't even know if it's that many.
It's true.
25.
Yeah, but there's also a period of time, up to a few years ago, I think, where Germany was producing almost all of the. They're producing the same amount of electricity. They're producing like 30% of the electricity with the landmass of Washington and Oregon. That's like nothing. They were producing a lot. They were producing almost the same amount of solar energy as like some of those solar plants in the deserts where they have nearly unlimited sunlight and no clouds.
Yeah. But that's when your country has restrictions placed on it by external forces on how much you can spend on military, then you can put all your shit in science.
God, it'd be great if we could put all of our military budget into the sciences.
Yeah.
Sorry guys, we need you to conduct experiments. Some of you might not come back.
Yeah. It's so weird how you can't convince people to stop investing in weapons just for like a little bit, just for like 5 years. It doesn't have to be forever. Like I could concede you don't have to stop investing in weapons forever. Just 5 years, guys. The amount of if we didn't invest in weapons for 5 years and took all that budget and invested it in infrastructure, we would have a fucking Dyson sphere in 5 years.
Well, we'd at least have Moonbase Alpha and Moonbase Beta and Moonbase Delta.
Yeah.
And Moonbase Theta. We'd also have a Gamma site where we would be conducting some really serious shit.
I mean, we'd have that in year 1, I would assume. Fuck, man, that.
No, I think year 1 would still be the marketing phase where we had to convince everyone that this was, that this, not just convince, to let them know that it's happening. Year 2 and 3 would be the deployment phase, and by 4 and 5 we would have full integration with civilian populations. 5-year plan for full colonization of the moon is done, right there.
Yeah, that's pretty much.
I don't think that. I think that all it really demands actually is Bezos comes correct and develops the fucking lunar Amazon HQ like on time, and and then all of those tax dollars that he hasn't been paying and hoarding away can be put to something useful like building a moon base. Because if anyone's going to build a large enough landing site facility to handle that kind of traffic in and out every day, fucking Amazon.